Can you believe that property prices can drop from 12,000 to just 600 yuan per square meter? Right now, ghost towns like this are becoming more and more common in China. Official data shows that there are over 50 empty cities in China. And one of the most notable is in Zhangjiakou, Hebei. There's a development called Xiahuayuan that used to cost 12,000 yuan per square meter. Now, the price has fallen to just 600 yuan, a drop of 95%. A property that once cost over a million yuan is now only worth a few tens of thousands.
How bad is the real estate market in China right now? If you think the property in Zhangjiakou is shocking, let me update you. A real estate agent, known for speaking the truth, said,
一顿饭钱就能买一套房。
Here, you can buy a house with the money for a meal. We live in a place that only costs 500 yuan a month. This is the most magical real estate wasteland in China. Even Hegang is small compared to this. This forgotten city is the old town of Yumen City in Gansu province. It used to be China's oil capital, producing 1.4 million tons of oil a year at its peak, supporting the population of 130,000. It was even known as the Little Hong Kong of the Northwest. Now, with the oil exhausted, the government has relocated, and the population has dropped by 90%, leaving behind just 15,000 elderly residents. It's become a ghost town, proving Jack Ma's prediction that properties have become as cheap as onions. In reality, properties themselves aren't worth much. What's valuable is the industry and the people living there. Remember, follow the industry and the young people, or your property may turn into the next Yumen wasteland. Some netizens commented, this is exactly what happened in Hong Kong, right? When all the talent leaves and the most valuable industries disappear, doesn't Hong Kong become like Hegang? Others pointed out that while there are still people living in some areas, there are much scarier ghost towns where you could film a horror movie at night. This may be one of the largest and most decayed ancient towns in China, the Taohuayuan ancient town in Changde. With a total investment of 5 billion yuan, and covering 263 acres, this town was completed in 2016. It was originally planned to be a true utopia. The development included residential areas, commercial streets, hotels, restaurants, and other integrated facilities. However, this massive ancient town nearly went bankrupt within a year of opening. Business owners who had already moved in lost everything and fled. Some had bought homes here, spending hundreds of thousands of yuan, only to find that the town had turned into a ghost town before they could even move in. The place is eerily quiet, with no one around. Many people regret their purchase and want to sell their homes, but no one's interested. As a result, many properties remain vacant, overgrown with weeds, and have become haunted houses. There are still over 700 vacant properties like this in the town, and despite being listed on Alibaba for years, no one's buying. Let's take a look at the true occupancy rate in Huizhou's Daya Bay, which was once hailed by the CCP as the backyard of Hong Kong.
This
is a real night view of Daya Bay in Huizhou. In each building, only a few households live here, and at night, you can hardly see anyone in the area. The vacancy rate exceeds 80%. Most of these developments are in relatively remote areas, and the surrounding amenities haven't kept up. Most of them were bought by property speculators. But now, with the housing market collapsing, these investors have seen their funds break, and they can't even rent out the properties. The area feels like a ghost town.
Now let's look at the 4.8 billion yuan ghost city near Shanghai's Hongqiao hub. The grand Baroque-style building, Guomao Tiandi City, has now turned into a popular yet desolate tourist spot. In 2009, this was one of Shanghai's most ambitious commercial projects. The developer Shanghai Dongfang Guomao Investment Management Company invested 4.8 billion yuan to create a European-style palace-level commercial complex. The 140,000 square meter space included a jewelry city, luxury car showroom, high-end apartments, and even plans for a 5-star hotel. The promotional materials back then said this would be Shanghai's Versailles Palace, the luxury gateway to the Hongqiao hub. But when it opened in 2013, only 8 of the 400 jewelry shops were occupied, and the luxury car showroom turned into a second-hand car market, and the high-end apartments didn't sell. Eventually, it became a ghost town. The main reasons were poor location choices, as it was 2.5 kilometers away from the Hongqiao hub with inconvenient access. More critically, it was out of sync with the surrounding market, which focused on community commercial spaces, while this place was still trying to sell jade priced at 300,000 yuan each. In 2019, they tried to transform it into an automobile experience center, but there were more charging stations than cars. Tests showed that during weekdays, the foot traffic was under 200 people, and 90% of them were local scavengers. Ironically, right next to it is the Hongqiao business district, where tens of thousands of white-collar workers pass by every day, but they prefer convenience stores over dining at Guomao Tiandi City. The worst part is, for those who bought the apartments back then, prices have dropped by 40%, and rental returns are less than 2%. To put that in perspective, a property that was bought for 10 million yuan is now only worth 6 million, and with an annual rental income of just 120,000 yuan, it would take around 50 years to break even, not including property taxes and fees. If those are included, it might never happen. Netizens have said that the story of Guomao Tiandi City is not about the failure of a commercial project. It's a microcosm of Shanghai's urban expansion. Blind confidence turned ambitious luxury projects into one of Shanghai's most expensive lessons. Let's take a look at a few other famous projects competing for the title of China's biggest ghost town. A blogger shared that they found an empty city in a remote suburban area of Guangdong. Dozens of high-rise buildings and apartments line the streets, with hundreds of villas hidden deep inside the development. This massive project, built with over 10 billion yuan, has now become a wasteland.
What attracted me most was the huge castle-like building, which made me feel like I was in the Disneyland theme park. How big is this empty city? You can't even walk around in the day, and even driving around takes 10 minutes. According to the developer's plan, this was a 20 billion yuan mega tourism and cultural project intended to become the Disneyland of South China, with a capacity to house 100,000 people. It would have been reasonable to build such a large number of homes in a big city, but in a rural area with a radius of 20 kilometers, the result was predictable. The European-style castle turned into a ruin. The children's park was shut down. The bar street was deserted. The commercial street was blocked with cement bricks, and the weeds in the parking lot were as tall as half a car wheel. At night, only a few lights could be seen in the buildings, and it seemed like only one or two building managers were guarding each one. The actual occupancy rate was probably less than 5%.
The real estate agent told the blogger that a single apartment here costs only 50,000 yuan, a 3-bedroom apartment is priced at 300,000 yuan, and a detached villa starts at 700,000 yuan. The blogger ended up moving into a duplex apartment with a monthly rent of only 400 yuan, including property and internet fees. The blogger said, "Why go to Hegang? People in Guangdong have their own little Hegang." The answer turned out to be that this place is called Century Dream City in Chongqing. Now, these homes have no investment value. But just 5 years ago, Dream City was the top seller in Chongqing's real estate market. Investors from Foshan, Guangzhou, and even Hong Kong had to queue up, enter lotteries, and even pay extra to have a chance to buy. The blogger said this empty city sparked a lot of curiosity, so they found the promotional video for the project from 2021, just to show how big the gap is between dream and reality. In the video, a clear-voiced male narrator reports, "A cluster-style commercial complex, creating a dazzling, prosperous destination, offering a one-stop solution for vacation needs, gathering world-famous global brands." The blogger said, "This is the commercial complex that the promotional video talked about. Here's a McDonald's logo hanging outside, but it's not open. Only a small supermarket is operating here, and all the other stores are closed. The nearest McDonald's is 20 kilometers away." The promotional video said, "A street full of bars from different countries. Experience dynamic, exotic charm."
Now we're at the bar street from the video. The road is overgrown with weeds, and all the bars have closed down. There's one bar with its door open, but the ground is a mess. It's clear that it used to be lively here. How bad is the business here? Even the business center is closed.
Next, the video said, "Leading the world in material quality. Here we have world-style hotels, offering exotic romantic charm, with a grand luxurious hotel lobby, stylish and sophisticated decor, pioneering a new mode in hotel-style leisure."
Now we've come to the hotel cluster that the video talked about. Originally, this was supposed to be the hotel lobby.
The blogger pointed to a wall and said, "Looking at a video from 4 years ago, the parking lot was so crowded that there were no available spaces. The sales office looked like a market, and people bought properties as if they were buying vegetables. Back then, the developers quickly reduced the price of homes from 8,000 yuan per square meter to 4,000 or even 3,000 yuan, attracting a large number of investors to snatch them up. This was perhaps the last rush before the building price collapsed." By the following year, the developers faced a debt crisis, and Dream City's properties almost became unfinished buildings. The real estate agent said their commission from that time still hasn't been settled. Fortunately, the third phase properties were just delayed for a while and were finally delivered to the owners at the beginning of this year. The sales office is still open, but it's clearly not selling properties. It's processing property certificates for the delayed homes. Once extremely luxurious crystal chandeliers are now falling apart, becoming a safety hazard. Recently, Guangdong experienced heavy rainfall, and the ceiling here leaked, making the luxurious lobby look more like a refugee camp. The project was named Dream City, and it seems to foreshadow its fate. The beautiful image in the promotional video will always remain just a dream. A netizen uploaded a video saying,
这里就是被称为中国第一鬼城的烂尾别墅群。
This is the so-called number one ghost town in China. A group of unfinished villas. Thousands of villas were built, but they've been abandoned for years with no one interested in them. All these villas are built along the mountains, and from an aerial view, you can see rows of villas covering several mountain peaks. Each villa's outer walls are completed, and the surrounding roads and greenery are perfectly maintained. I wonder who had the resources to build so many villas and leave them to rot in these remote mountains. Now, it's a ghost town. Such a waste.
Many netizens can't understand why such a great location with a beautiful view is left empty. Some say, wouldn't it be better for poor people to live here? Others joke, even if you blow it up, they still won't let you live there. In the most bustling part of Chengdu, there's also a massive ghost town hidden away. This is Chengdu's largest unfinished villa complex, located in Changhua district. With over 100 unfinished villas occupying 33 acres, it's been abandoned for more than a decade. Despite being surrounded by a busy commercial area, this place feels like it's been forgotten by the world. Walking through, you can see the villas are built in traditional Chinese style, scattered and very elegant. Each house has 3 or 4 floors, but it's been almost 20 years since construction stopped, and the weeds have grown taller than the houses. Looking inside, most of the villas are unfinished, but you can tell that if they were completed, the courtyards with pavilions would have been very beautiful. Why is there such a huge ghost town here? The story behind it is quite complex. It was originally a joint project between the Chengdu government and the real estate group from Shanghai. The plan was to create a 7.5 billion yuan capsule city in Chengdu, with a space for 1,600 businesses and a capacity to house 100,000 people. The villa complex was an important part of the project. The reason for the halt in construction is disputed. Some say the developer illegally changed the land's purpose from industrial to residential, while others claim it was due to a financial crisis. However, these explanations are dubious. Construction began in 2007 and was completely halted in 2013, right during China's real estate boom. So the true story behind this unfinished project is unclear. Some netizens speculate that high-ranking officials behind the project got into trouble, leading to the halt and leaving no one willing to take over. Recently, a netizen in Suzhou filmed with a drone and discovered what is said to be the largest ghost town villa complex in the area, located by Yangcheng Lake. In the video captured from the drone, dozens of villas, each over 1,000 square meters, are half-built and have been abandoned. To this day, no one has visited. It's said that even the homeless avoid the place. Now let's take a look at what's known as the Pentagon. Built in 1943, it's the headquarters of the U.S. Department of Defense. But this is a replica. The Five-Corner World Trade Mall is located in Shanghai's Pudong district. Completed in 2013, it covers about 30,000 square meters, larger than the U.S. Pentagon. However, aside from a few curious guests staying in hotel apartments, it hasn't been used for its intended purpose, and is considered one of the most unique ghost towns. Let's take a look at Jingjin New City, which is known as the largest ghost city in Asia. With over 3,000 villas and more than 8,000 residential units, the occupancy rate remains below 10%. Many property owners bought units for 1.3 million yuan in 2013, only to sell them for 240,000 yuan in 2023. With such a dramatic price drop, this city is one of the strongest contenders for the crown of China's ghost cities. Official data from the Chinese government reveals that since 2020, 77 property developers in China have defaulted on their debts, and 30 publicly listed developers have been delisted, with 27 of them being passively delisted. Among the 71 listed property companies in Shanghai and Shenzhen, more than 60% are operating at a loss. Experts believe the real situation could be even worse due to the Chinese government's consistent efforts to cover up problems and manipulate data. Economist Li Hongqing from Washington commented, First, houses can't be sold, or only a few are sold, leaving a large stockpile. Even with price cuts, they still can't sell. Furthermore, the development of these properties involved significant debt, which must be paid back, including interest and part of the principal. How will they repay it? This pressure has ultimately led to the current situation of overall debt. There have been many companies delisted, and many smaller real estate firms can barely survive. The report also mentioned that by August of this year, 20 distressed property companies had received approval for debt restructuring and reorganization, with a total debt reduction exceeding 1.2 trillion yuan. Critic Wang He stated, the 20 companies that have undergone debt restructuring are those with relatively better financial and asset conditions. They were able to gain the trust of creditors, which is why they have the opportunity to go through this debt restructuring process. For many property companies, their asset situations are extremely poor, even negative. The entire Chinese real estate bubble has already burst, and it's still falling, with no end in sight. The most obvious issue is the unfinished buildings. Since last year, the Chinese government has introduced some of the largest so-called market rescue policies in history, including lowering down payment thresholds, guiding reductions in existing mortgage rates, and injected massive funds into the market through reserve requirement ratio cuts. However, the results have been difficult to see. As of August 20th, among the listed real estate companies in Shanghai and Shenzhen, 71 companies had issued performance forecasts for the first half of this year, and the results were generally poor. Of these, 45 companies posted losses, accounting for 63.4%. Some individual companies reported losses exceeding 10 billion yuan. It's estimated that there are tens of millions of unfinished homes across China, and 70% of Chinese household wealth is tied to real estate. Experts believe that as the Chinese real estate bubble bursts, it will inevitably lead to a vicious cycle. Li Hengqing also commented, many companies are now simply unable to deliver homes, which has led to the rise of unfinished buildings and cut-off properties. If you can't sell the homes now and you have no way to recoup funds, how are you going to repay the loans and interest? In this situation, banks will be the next major industry to collapse. It's foreseeable that as the external environment continues to worsen and the debt crisis fully erupts, banks will ultimately fail to sustain themselves, leading to widespread closures. The number of ghost towns in China will increase, and even first-tier cities like Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen will ultimately become film sets for ghost movies.